Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Voltron Legendary Defender. This is the reaction for Season 5, Episode 6. The finale of Season 5. So yeah, we are at the finale, and, jeez. I realize, like, I need to shave and all, and I'm going to later, before I head out to the bar and everything for D&D. But geez. Either way. So yeah. This is the final episode of the season, and I still think that they're about to be betrayed by Lotor. I do not trust him at all. And we still haven't figured out what's going on with Shiro. In fact, he wasn't even in the last episode. So there's a lot that we're kind of building towards. Allura and Lotor have kind of pieced together that Hagar is Lotor's mother. But at the same time, Lotor doesn't want to believe it. Now, I don't know if this is still part of the act or not. And again, I still fully believe he's putting on an act. He's trying to be a nice guy. But in the end, he's not. He's totally tricking them. It's just, there's no reason to trust him. There's absolutely no reason to trust that he's being genuine here. It just doesn't even make sense, to be honest. Oh, pardon me. But I do have other stuff to get to today before I leave, so we need to get right to this. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go straight to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, blah. And after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play, because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay. So I talked about in previous seasons how, due to the randomly shorter length that some of these seasons took, seasons 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6 now as well, 3 and 4 both felt like the finale to 3 definitely did not feel like a finale. It felt like a mid-season kind of thing. Like 3 and 4 were supposed to be one season, but for some reason they were split into 2. And that explains their length as well. They're a shorter length than the first couple seasons. And it seems like they're doing the same thing with 5 and 6 here. Shorter seasons, and this finale to Season 5 doesn't feel like a finale. You may disagree with me. You may think, oh, but it's this big deal. They found this ancient Altean-like place. They discovered the secrets and got everything, and it's like... And then at the end, it's like this big cliffhanger with Hagar now leading the charge to go there as well. It's like, yes, but a finale should have this big, mind-blowing, like, closure to a current arc, a current story, or something big that's happening. And this did not have that closure. It did not feel like a finale. It just didn't feel like it was the end of something. It felt rather like it was leading into something else. Which, I mean, a lot of finales have done that. There's a lot of finales that have done that kind of thing. And if it's done well, that's fine. And if it leads into something that ends up being really good the next season or whatever, that's great. And it could here. It very well could in this next season. But I can't judge that until we get to the next season and find out. As of now, as of where this left off for a season finale, it didn't feel like one. It felt like a midway point to a season, which I think it technically was supposed to be. I don't know for sure. I do not know for sure, but I still think seasons 3 and 4 were supposed to be one season, and seasons 5 and 6 were supposed to be one season. That just, it's the only thing that makes sense to me at this point. Because this feels like there's something bigger that's going to be happening right after this. Like it's really, it feels more like it's the beginning of a finale. You know what I mean? Like a multi-part finale. This feels more like the beginning. What's a good example I could use this? Okay, so this feels more like the first part of Weirdmageddon in Gravity Falls. It's like this big epic thing, but it leaves off and doesn't have any closure to close out what's going on. And it kind of, I'll admit, this kind of did confirm one big thing, one big theory I had. And that was that something is going on with Shiro, and that he's basically, probably unwillingly, working for the bad guys. Hagar is able to see through him, and we've seen her use that power before. She's able to, like, use him as this, basically as a camera. She can see what's going on through his eyes, and presumably his actions and mindsets and everything, the way he's been, like, agreeing with Lotor's plans and stuff, and agreeing with all these haphazard strategies and ideals, I think he might be being, like, subtly mind-controlled by Hagar, to the point where he's, like, not completely gone during those points, but his memory becomes hazy, and there's certain points where it's just completely gone for him, and he doesn't fully know what he's doing or saying during those times. That's the only way I can think of it, and it kind of feels like it kind of feels like he's, you know what I'm saying. It's not like it's a full-fledged mind control where he's completely under the control at all times, because there's other points where it almost seems like he's aware that something's wrong. Like when he was talking to Lance in this episode, he seemed like he was aware something was off, something was weird and wrong. And I think that's because the mind control is, again, very subtle. It's very, it's like a small control, to where he's not always completely under control. It's more like, I'd say it's more like Hagar is feeding these thoughts into his head, and it's like it's just kind of influencing him to make these decisions and to come to these thoughts and stuff. And while they were in the dreamscape, and when he was trying to communicate with Lance and tell him something, we don't know what yet, I think at that point, like, Shiro had kind of blacked out, and maybe he, like, had that memory of what was going on, and he was trying to tell Lance, like, oh, I'm being controlled, you need to help me, you need to stop this, or something like that. But then when he woke up, it's like the control took over again, and it kind of, like, phased out his memory a bit. So it's like when the control is in place, his memory gets fuzzy, and he doesn't fully understand that he's being controlled, obviously, that things are weird, that something's not right about the way he's thinking and acting and all of that. But when he would be out of the control, like when they blacked out there, like he was in that, like, mental state like everyone else, so his mental state would have that knowledge. That's what I'm trying to say here. So at that point, he would know about what had happened, and he was trying to tell Lance. That's the only thing I can think of. I definitely think they're going to go into that next season. Now, one other theory I had was that in the finale here, Lotor was going to betray the Paladins, Team Voltron. He didn't. And I think that goes in place with my entire thought that this felt more like a mid-season thing than an actual finale. And I think by the finale of Season 6, he will make that betrayal. It could happen in the premiere of Season 6. I don't know. But the point is that it wasn't a bad episode. Let me say that. it wasn't bad. I liked the lore that we got in it. I liked the imagery. It was really cool. Um, but overall, I'm not going to lie and say that this episode was amazing. I'd honestly say it's probably one of the weaker episodes of this season. And I'd say it's probably one of, if not the weakest finale we've had. In terms of it being a finale. And it's just like, the only real thing it accomplished was them gaining this knowledge, which we don't even know if this is how helpful this is going to be, how just accurate this knowledge would be. We have no clue. This could all be some kind of elaborate trap by Lotor. I still do not trust him at all. We don't know what's going on. We just have no clue at the moment. And I just feel like we need to see more. This is, again, one of those types of episodes that is all set up. This is building to something that's going to happen in this next season. And if the payoff is great, it will obviously make this finale a little better. But if the payoff is bad, then it's actually going to bring down this finale even more. This entirely hinges on where it leads to. It entirely hinges on the payoff to the build-up. We have to see like what the details behind this knowledge that Allura got was. We need to find out how Lotor escaped that like dreamscape he was in, because that's a big thing that I question right now. They were both in the dreamscape being tested by the White Lion, right? Okay. Allura figures out that she has to embrace and embody self-sacrifice in order to be worthy of the knowledge, and she does. Lotor, meanwhile, tries to attack the White Lion. In fact, he straight up does, and slices it in half. It teleports him to somewhere else. And the next time we see him, he's there on the ship with Allura and everything, and he's just fine. There is some very big missing information there. And I feel like we can't just let that go. Sometime in this next season, hopefully early on, they have to explain what happened to him between being transported by the White Lion after failing the test and like being awake and aware in the ship. Now, if like Allura had come back alone, or if she had brought back Lotor's unconscious body and he was still unconscious at that point, that would have been great. That would have worked fine. But the way he was just like there and again aware and everything, it felt wrong to me personally. Yeah, it just feels like there's way too many questions and not enough answers yet. So, yeah, all I can say is we have to see where Season 6 goes. So, now we beg the question, will we be continuing straight into Season 6? Because Season 7, I believe, is just come out recently. Either that or it's coming out soon. It's either just come out or is coming out soon. And then Season 8, I think, is going to be coming out in the near future as well. Which will apparently be the final season. The question is, will I be moving straight into Season 6? And right now, the answer is I don't know. Like, initially, my plan was to do so. My initial plan was that I would be going straight into Season 6 because I wanted to get caught up on the show. But there's a lot of shows that have recently come out and are still coming out in the near future that I really want to react to. And the problem is, I don't want to wait like a super long time. And I don't want to have to try to figure out when to schedule them otherwise. So I'm thinking I might do one of them right now, like starting next week basically. And then I'll get back to the next season of Voltron after. And kind of like maybe play that by ear at that point. Do like one and then the other, and so on and so forth. But I do want to see real quick the episodes for the one that I would be doing next, because that will also be determining things. I will say right now, though, the one I would do next if I do it that way will be Disenchantment, the series by Matt Groening, the creator of Simpsons and Futurama. Okay, there are 10 episodes in the season. So there are 10 episodes, apparently. That's pretty much about the same as with what they're doing now with Voltron. Well, at least for the seasons I'm in. So yeah, I'm thinking that's probably going to be what I'm going to do then. So that's right now a plan. But I'm not guaranteeing it yet. I will obviously let you know before next Thursday. But right now, I'm thinking that starting next week, I'll start Disenchantment. After I do that, which again, it's 10 episodes long, after Disenchantment, I will get back to Voltron Season 6. Just kind of like spread things out so that I'm always reacting to something different and that there's always something new going on, something fresh, and so things don't get stale. Like I'm not reacting to the same thing forever and ever, because I want to just keep mixing up the channel in a way. And the only other way to do that would be to keep either bringing in a bunch of new series, which I'm not going to do because that would be stupid with my schedule as it is already, or to be dropping stuff constantly, and I don't want to do that obviously either. So it's like, at this point, the only other way we could do it is switch on and off between other shows. So I think that's what I'm going to do. That is my plan for now, but no guarantees. I will update you before next Thursday. But the plan for now, at least, is that starting next Thursday, I will begin Disenchantment. After Disenchantment, we will get back to Voltron, and we'll do Season 6. That'll, I feel, also give me a little bit of time to really gather my thoughts on Season 5 of Voltron, and really just build up the hype as well. I'm one of those who has never really been fond of like marathoning things, so I prefer it when there's a little break between seasons and stuff. So yeah, I think that's the best way we're going to do it. But again, no promises, we'll see. In the meantime, though, tell me what you thought of this episode, the final episode of Season 5 of Voltron Legendary Defender. Tell me your thoughts on the entire White Lion plot. Tell me your thoughts on Lotor and whether or not he's good or bad. And what are your thoughts on what's going on with Shiro? Tell me what you think and more in the comments below. But if you know what happens based on the seasons that have come out after this, no spoilers. Do not leave any spoilers in the comments for myself or for anyone else who's watching who has not seen future seasons. I want this channel to remain as spoiler-free as possible regarding everything. Now you can tell me if it gets good again and really starts to improve after this point. Like, that's all subjective and stuff. But do not give me any details. Do not tell me if any of my theories are right. Do not tell me anything like that. You get the idea. I've talked before about exactly what I consider spoilers, so hopefully it should be fine. Hopefully. In the meantime, though, thank you all so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live, love, laugh, another